this sort of idea of getting out of the hold, of what society teaches, what a man to be, a man's sex life should be, what women to be, what their sex life should be, but also their professional life, their lifestyle, and what is good. What, how did you kind of like break that hold of that idea? And, I know you've done a bunch of stuff and I want to actually get into it here, but like, what was the first thing that really broke that, we'll say, mold of masculinity and sense of self that, this zeitgeist world taught you to live by and brought you into who you are now and how you're evolving now?
I don't think I ever was really in the running to join the normal human race. There was not like I dabbled in it, wore a tie for a while and did the nine to five, and then one day said, you know what, God damn it, I'm going to put on a cardigan and go and conquer the world.
Yeah.
By the way, is this video as well? Can people see? Oh wow! Isn't the future amazing? It's incredible.
Oh yeah.
I'm so born in the 70s. So yeah, I mean, I was always a bit of an outsider, I guess, and at first that wasn't something that really helped me. I was into singing opera. I was a guy who was into Eastern philosophy, into I don't know, like all sorts of stuff that wasn't being an Australian kid who played football and drank beer and was destined for a career in, somewhere in the suburbs and any of that. So I was always doing different stuff. I think the point was that at some point I learned how to make that work. So I knew that I was always going to be a weirdo, that I was going to be a guy who wasn't going to follow the status quo.
Great.
And I wasn't doing that out of an act of like rebellion particularly. It's just that it didn't suit me at all.
Sure.
I wanted to do different things. And I realized pretty early that, well, first that was music. I was a musician for a long time, but I realized that wasn't going to make me money and it wasn't going to make a lifestyle for me. And so I started looking more intelligently at how I could, I guess, unplug from society's constraints and then learn how to jump from society to society and take the best pieces out of it without being trapped by any single one of them. And that's been, I guess, the main focus of myself over the last, say, 5 years. So really, I mean, what the initial step out for me was going to China and studying martial arts in Shaolin Temple and deciding to be a full-time musician, even if that meant living on lentils and sleeping on people's couches, which I certainly did a lot of. I guess I wasn't afraid to live rough or to not have any security, which nobody has anyway. There is no security. It's total illusion, but people are very addicted to that illusion of security. I just never was.
Well, this is interesting because you talk about this idea of, I'm going to word it as somewhat of a social misfit, and I know for myself, just nothing felt normal to me, and I just didn't make the right choices in life. And a lot of times, or, the right choices in life, what I mean by that, not necessarily what is right, but to follow who you are and to do what you want, there's this huge relationship with experience and, cause and effect and all this sort of stuff that happens, that it was not always good. And there was like a lot of pain and confusion and whatnot from that. It's so interesting because when you talk about like, man, I just, wasn't set out to be I forget what you said, normal Aussie kid or normal, human on this earth. In that sort of pursuit of finding that happiness and confidence within that, what took you through those times of confusion? Because I know for myself, and I know for everybody else that I talk to who's had this sort of lifestyle, I mean, there's times of heavy doubt where nothing is on your side. What carried you through that?
Yeah, I think when you decide to live an extreme life, you have to hit both ends of it. So you're going to have extreme highs, you're going to have extreme breakthroughs, and you're going to have extreme breakdowns as well. I mean, when we first met, when was that, 2011?
2011, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, despite the fact that I was, in many people's eyes, a seduction hero and I was living my life and whatever, I was going through a really horrific time in my life. And that was a really interesting wake-up call for me because I think I thought that I'd finally gotten through all that, that was part of being a young man and being lost and having those doubts. And I realized that, no, it's not. It's something that cyclically reappears in your life in terms of no matter how high you go, things will get stripped away from you and shattered periodically. and you have to learn to embrace that, and you have to learn to understand that that is part of the cycle. And I think the thing that really has gotten me through those times is, well, firstly, it's been having a very strong brotherhood of men and women, of the sisterhood, of people who are truly, deeply your friends and collaborators. And I think I've learnt over the years the true value of loyalty and real friendship, which is rare. And those people, are there to support you through those times. And the other thing is that I've never associated my success, my status, my money with being happy. So it's that my internal spiritual pursuits have always been primary. And so when I've had periods when the shit's fallen apart, it's been okay, because I can always sit down and meditate. I can always go, step out on the journey again. I know that I'm resourceful and resilient, and that and I'm charming, and I know how to seduce people, men and women, and I know how to do all those things, and I'll be fine. So I think especially when I see clients who are very, very rich, for example, it's really interesting to see the way that they're so fixatedly attached to that defines them, and that they're shit scared of losing it.
Yeah, sure, totally.
I think part of it is like going through a process where you have had everything stripped away from you, because most people don't face that. They're really scared of it, so they always avoid that no matter what. And particularly, like doing things like going into the jungle and taking, insane psychedelics for a month, or living off no money, or any of those things take you to the point where that you can survive the worst, and therefore you can enjoy the best.